And I sat one afternoon alone with my father, and he told me about the time they left and what happened. There's this very famous Roskies family story in 1938 for Pesach. The entire family, my father was the youngest of 4 brothers, and there was a sister as well, and they all went back to Bialystok for Pesach. And my grandfather, my blind grandfather, said, there's a war coming. You have to get out of Europe. And he said, you go to Canada, because they were in the textile business. And he said, it's a cold country. They're going to need wool. They're going to need blankets. They're going to need coats. You go to Canada and go now. And 2 of my cousins had already studied in Leeds and in England, textiles, and they went. They came to Montreal. Then my 2 eldest uncles went. My second uncle, his wife and daughters did not want to leave. They had the good life in Poland, and they wanted to stay. And they actually got trapped in Europe, although they did manage to escape in the end. And my parents were in Czernowitz, and my father and one of his brothers went to the World's Fair in France in 1938 and never went back. He got a call one day. He was in Bucharest, and he got a call one day from this friend who was on the border saying the Russians are coming. He called my mother, and he said, you pack everything and you get out today. And my mother packed everything. In fact, there's family lore of the things that were left behind by accident, but I don't know if it was accident. She packed up the nanny, her 2 kids who were 9 and 4. They were 9 and 4, and took the last train that left Czernowitz that day for Bucharest. My mother was on. She said it was an absolutely empty train. There was nobody on that train except for the 4 of them. And my father was in Bucharest. She met my father in Bucharest. It took my father several weeks still to get papers. Even though they had money and they had their things, they were still escaping in a war zone. They went through Bulgaria and down through the Balkans to Greece. And in Athens, they boarded, I don't know, they boarded an Italian ship, I think. I'm not sure. They boarded a ship in Athens. And he always told us the story that when they had to land in Italy, when they landed in Italy, these Italian soldiers came on, and they were all armed to the teeth and in crisp uniforms and very officious, and they went through everybody's papers and they went through everybody, but they never took a single person off the ship. Then they hit Gibraltar, and the British soldiers sauntered on in shorts, and not armed, very casual, but they took a lot of people off the ship. They stuck to the rules. But my parents had these papers to Paraguay, and they ended up in Portugal, in Lisbon. And while they were in Lisbon, my father spent a lot of time trying to get his papers changed to go to Canada. And in fact, ended up succeeding. He almost didn't succeed because his health was not too great. He had colitis, suffered a lot from colitis. His eyesight wasn't so great. And he tells the story that they were at this doctor who was going to either pass them or not pass them. And he was there with the family, and the doctor looked at my sister, who was 4 years old at the time, and blue-eyed and cute as a button. And the doctor said, he said, I have a granddaughter just like your daughter. For the sake of your daughter, go. And gave them the papers. So they were on this, that's when they boarded this Greek ship that was going to Ellis Island to New York, and then from New York my parents would go to Canada. And the ship that they were on was torpedoed and sunk on its return voyage to Europe. So that's how fragile things were. My parents arrived in October 1940. My parents are, my siblings were amongst the 5,000, only 5,000 Jews landed in Canada during the war years, and they were part of it.